I am Chris Von Erich. Come on, Franklin. Oh, that's hot. Are you serious? If you walk around looking like that, you deserve it. I am your humble Messiah. You are my disciples. I am your humble Messiah. You are my disciples. And as always, tonight I am joined by my main disciple, Franklin. How are you tonight?
I'm doing all right. Can't complain. Thanks for having me, Chris. And I'm glad. Hope you get a lot of good calls tonight.
Yeah, well, we definitely have the subject matter and the topic is very diverse. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to unpack. I'm sure the people that are out there that are going to be watching here tonight, if they're going to be, let me tell you, if you're going to have an opinion about something or you're going to call in, you're calling on tonight because this show is going to have really something for everybody and something that everybody's involved in because it's on alternative lifestyles or, dating relationships. So there's a lot that goes in there.
What's that number, Chris?
And and we do want to hear from everybody out there. The live call-in number, as always, is 224-231-4652. I just posted that in the chat, so it's there. People see it. If you want to drop a comment, we are streaming live to Facebook and to the YouTube channel tonight, so you can watch us on those two main platforms. We have some other platforms kind of in the works. We're working on that. We're getting some stuff set up. So in the future, we're going to expand out a little bit more here. But as always, I want to get to our sponsorship, get that out of the way. The fine people at the Grondike Tactical Soap Company. They're selling that special soap for the men that gets you smelling like a man to attract those women. So we want you to get over there, head over to their website, thetacticalsoap.com. You get a very nice discount if you use the coupon code Von Erich. So get over there right after this show, sign up and get yourself a bunch of that. Also in the month of October, this show is brought to you by the fine people over at the Chamber of Horrors NY. That is a 35,000 square feet walkthrough of a very elaborate horror walkthrough. 3 main attractions. You can actually tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. It's all weekend long for the month of October. So get over there. They have tremendous packages, so you could buy a bunch for a whole group and scare the hell out of everybody. So get over there. Again, the Chambers of Horror NY. Very simply, their website, www.chambersofhorrorny.com. And for our purposes, again, our multimedia, you can find the show at Twitter at Von Erich, Facebook.com/Chris Von Erich. And as always, we would love to get any helpful donations you'd like for this program at streamlabs.com/Chris Von Erich.
We're not proud here. We'll take your money.
Yes, because this board right here is not free. So that's
how do they say it?
They let me write on that every week. So I got to pay.
There you go. How do they say it? It's how we keep the lights on, right?
That's right. Right.
That's how they say it.
Absolutely. So let's delve right into it. And I think the best way to kind of get everything up and running here is to kind of take it from the origins and where we've come from. Because I always think when you want to talk about multiple things and kind of lay things out, I think knowing where you came from and laying that groundwork is the best way to go about it. And we all know about where it started in the 50s when our parents or our grandparents, depending on how old you are, you grew up and it was that nuclear family. It was, the man, the woman, the 2.1 kid, 2.5 kids. I don't know.
Where did 0.5 ever come from?
That's funny. I've always thought about that. Like, were they including like the possibility of like a midget or something, a small person?
Yeah. I always wonder about that myself.
It's like, Bob, this could happen. So maybe here in the census, we should just round it like to 0.5%. So we'll do it 2.5. What do you think about that?
Well, I could figure out the picket fence, in the house, but I never could figure out what's this 0.5.
Right.
What's this half a kid running around his torso?
Right. And even back then, it was the dog, so the cat got no love even back then.
Right. Yeah.
So the cat didn't even factor in. So all you lonely ladies out there with your cats, see, you made a poor choice even with that. So.
Crazy cat ladies.
So so basically, yeah, I mean, back then in the 50s, you're talking about very traditional stuff. You're talking, man, woman, this is how it is. There was no deviation. In your family or people you've known, was that the case? Growing up, when you've heard stories about that, Franklin?
Yes, actually, it was. And to further carry this on, I was actually raised by my grandparents, naturally, and that's really the way it was. More so, had I been raised by my biological parents. I was raised by my grandparents, and that's exactly the way it was. That was just the way it is.
Right.
Mom's at home. Dad comes home from a hard day's work. Mom's waiting for him at the door. Got his drink ready for him, and that was it. And we had dinner. That's the traditional way it was growing up. Like I said, late 60s. Mid to late 60s actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was it. There was no deviation. There definitely, and this is coming from my vantage point of what I was growing up with. And
it wasn't allowed any deviation.
You were, they dealt with deviation a very different way back then. At least that's from the stories that I've been told with my parents and their parents, for sure.
Was there any deviation? No, it was this way, and that's it. How is it? There'll be none of this.
Right.
That's it. There was no and. That's it.
Oh, Mom, Dad, I'm feeling this kind of way.
No, there was none of that.
Yeah, no.
The woman of the house, well, she sort of knew better. She didn't. But dear, I thought, okay, and that was it. Okay. There wasn't any. You didn't have your own mind, if you will.
Right.
But carry on, Chris. I didn't mean to.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. And again, there certainly wasn't any talk of living a different way or same sex. Hey, I'm gay or whatever. You never saw that. And actually, that was kind of frowned upon. I think back then in the 50s, pardon me, they used to, they actually used to kind of think you were mentally ill, if that was okay. And just a contrast of where it was to where it is now. That was, again, that was the starting point. That's where, it all began and how things were looked at. But as you got into the later 60s and even earlier 70s, the whole free love movement and, Flower Child and, what is it? Get high and check out. What was it? What was the slogan they had back then?
Check out, not in, or something along those lines. Or
yeah.
I know what you're trying to say, but I can't think of it myself.
Yeah, if anybody out there knows that slogan, just put it into the chat, because I know I butchered it, but it was something like, maybe if it was just get high and check out. I don't know.
Tune in, perhaps. Tune in, check out, or something along those lines. Something along those lines.
Yeah, but in any event, so there was more of a call to and a normality to, let's just let it ride. Let's go over on this grassy knoll here, and Bill and Bob and Jane, we're just gonna touch each other for a little while, and
Like,
who knows what happens. And actually, well, we know what happened. That's where that generation of kids came from, basically. The what they call the flower child kids, right?
flower child, yes.
Right. So that ushered in a different way of thinking, okay, and just a different way of kind of looking at maybe even sexuality and how relationships maybe look. I still think in the late 60s and 70s it was still, okay, well, those people, they're a little weird,
Stay away from them.
they were the people that did things differently, and your parents were like, don't go over to their house because the strange stuff is going on there.
It's not traditional, not tradition.
Right. There you go. Right. So you bring it from that point to where it kind of slowly kind of etched into society to the 80s, where everybody was getting high and just going nuts. And then it was like kind of like a free for all. And I think that at that point in the 80s was when, and this is funny because simultaneously in the 80s, it got crazy where, people were having gangbangs and things like that and going crazy. But then you had, the advent of, AIDS and all that other stuff.
Wait, where was I during all of that?
Yeah, you just weren't involved in the whole thing. What's that happened? Were you actually? When were you over in Japan? Were you in Japan in the 80s?
No, I wish I was in the 80s. That would have been the greatest thing in the world. Actually, to tell you the truth, I wish I was in Europe in the 80s, because Europe in the 80s was a lot more fun than it was here. But no, I was only in Japan within the past 10 years. 1, 2, 3, 4 times in the past about 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
Between then and now.
All right. So. All right, but my point on that, bringing it into the 80s, is that I think a lot of the alternative stuff and ideas that the seeds were laid in the late 60s and early 70s kind of blossomed. I'm going to use that, analogy. They blossomed, and you had that. You had like the craziness of. No, hey, to each his own, but the difference of that threesome or the group sex and stuff like that in tandem with people really freaking out because of something at that time they didn't really know about. So, and I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I and I'm gonna dox my age a little bit here, but I found as the mid to late 90s came about that there was like almost like a sterilization of what people were doing relationship wise in terms of their sexuality. I think it basically not much was going on because people were still afraid of the diseases that were, on the uptick there. And it was more like, well, we got to get right with God, and we got to get back to traditional relationships. So am I wrong on that?
I would go along with that, but you are right though, because towards the mid 80s to the late 80s, you had, like you said, you had the HIV scare, well, AIDS actually, and a lot of that carried well into the 90s, because people were still, afraid of what they might catch. Okay. In the 80s, it really, people didn't care as much until their friends started, getting sick, getting infected. And I think only recently where they've got a bit of a handle on it, if you will. And that's 20 some years later. So it's a long time. They just got a handle on it. But yeah, into the 90s, well into the 90s, people were still afraid.
Right. And Right, and I concur. I think I know I lived, in that time period. That was really my heyday. Okay, in terms of socially and stuff like that.
Same
I
here. Same
obviously
here. I wouldn't try that. I wouldn't give that for the rest of my life. I
right.
wouldn't trade that for anything.
But I will say that that hangover, okay, of the 80s into the mid 90s was something that I think, really kind of kept people on a track.
Hmm.
And then somewhere along the line with the .com, you know, blow up of
Right.
the new millennium, and people making quick money again and stuff like that.
Very quick.
It just blew into what I feel is just crazy. We're now moving into it's the second decade of the new millennium. I can't believe that, by the way, the second decade of the new millennium. And now we're seeing a total shift of a consciousness of what was kept in the closet, no
Hmm.
pun intended. um
Yes, there was.
yeah, there's a slight one there, but to where now those alternative ideas and even the lifestyles that were shunned or misunderstood or what have you are now mainstream. you know
Hmm.
and I will challenge anybody, and you can call up and you can drop something in the chat. I challenge you to say that I believe that now it is even more agreeable, and you can get called on the carpet the other way if you are looked at or bemoaning somebody that is living that alternative lifestyle, or through the facets of the different ones I have. Now you have transgendered on the uptick, and being more recognized. So you now you can get in some big trouble if you really come out forcefully against people that want to do that and live that way. Whereas before, they had the paddy wagon and said, "Oh, okay, Mr. Johnson, you like to dress up in women's clothing?
We
Okay,
got a nice room for you.
yeah,
In the early 60s, they would treat people like that with psycho. Here we go. Psycho. Not psycho. I can't think of the name of the word, but they
tropic,
would have what's that?
psychotropic."
That could have been it too. I think that might be it. But they had actual, they had props that would spin around on a record with black and white, and as you spun it around faster, it would turn gray, and they would try to hypnotize you into thinking that what you believed in was wrong.
Oh,
There you go.
like
That's
that.
right, just like that.
And
Just like that.
anytime you say something bizarre, that's
That's what I'm gonna get.
music.
There we go. The Twilight Zone
Um,
music there.
but yeah, so we've really come, in my opinion, full circle from things that were shunned to things that are now I feel are proliferating. There's a snowball there, and
Mm-hmm.
it's now to the point where it's commonplace, and it's getting commonplace. I mean, you see it with even the restrooms. Now you have all gender restrooms, so you come and go as you please, etc. So that's how it is, and hey, it is what it is. But what what has also come and sprung out of that. Okay, I'm using all these fancy
I see that.
adjectives.
You're really killing it tonight.
But we're seeing that the genuine that relationship we talked about in the 50s is now completely, it's still there, but it's being, it's been cracked open, and you're now seeing relationships that are more commonplace of same sex, whether it be poly relationships. Okay. And these are people that basically it's one guy and he can have multiple wives, and in some cases that's basically based on the culture, Islam. They do that a lot. They have parameters and stuff for things like that, but there's a way you can go about having multiple wives, and even well, you name a few.
I'm just trying to think. Multiple wives. Okay, I know people that can't manage one. Why would you want that? Why would you want to bring that kind of misery into your life?
I know.
Just think about it. I'll use the number 1 times 40. Matter of fact, it's funny you mentioned it. My neighbor across the street actually has, I think he said he has 2 or 3 wives. He's from, he's from Turkey actually. He's a really pretty cool guy. We were speaking about that a couple of times, as a matter of fact. I can't believe that slipped my mind. But and I asked him the same question: why would you want that kind of misery?
You got to have that guy call in. I want to talk to him.
Oh, he's got an accent thicker than anything. But you know what? I'll do that. I'll do that next time I see him.
Yeah, definitely. Tell him that we had a show based on this, and we want to, we need a first person's account of that. But I think we were talking about it earlier today before we came on, that the Mormons are an example of a group, and I looked it up, and they are. Yeah, this is probably where you remember the 40 number. They are literally allowed to have 40 wives. So,
wow.
And that goes back from like the first time the Mormons were actually organized. Their first founder, this guy Joe Smith. You think that's an alias? People tell me,
John Smith or something. Yeah, okay.
How more generic can that be? Listen, I'm thinking about he's like sitting around with the guys, like, listen, man, it's like I got this plan. I can get all the sex I want, but I got to come up with a name. But I got to fly under the radar. I was thinking Joe Smith.
There you go.
Good. The guys are probably like, yeah, that's Ezekiel. Yes, that's probably the most generic name you could find there, Zeke.
Yeah, they won't find you. Yeah.
But yeah, for 40 guys.
Boy.
So now I don't know if you can actually, I guess you got to support them. I mean, it's got to be something where like you have to be able to support that enough of those wives.
Well, you would have to actually, and to tell you the truth, I don't think they would work, right? So yeah, you're probably the breadwinner.
Well, although it could be a scenario where they all have different roles. Like the one wife could be one wife's the breeding wife.
The breeding wife.
Get over here, honey.
The breeding wife.
Tonight, listen, that was great. Turkey and stuffing. So tonight we breed. I'm going to stuff something else.
Good breeding stock, this one.
So basically, you have them. You have that group of people out there, or groups that do that, and they actually, some of them get even tax write-offs for stuff like that. I think they're like tax exempt if they like kind of put a church together with that.
Oh, okay.
So, but you can also get really strange. Well, I should back up a little bit. The nuclear family also took a hit with the new millennium when the whole advent of online dating kind of got thrown into the mix there. And you see it now. We've seen it in different news broadcasts too, where sites like Adult Friend Finder and Ashley Madison have been called on the carpet for, really for fraud. I think it was, right? Didn't you?
That, and I think there was another It was something else. I forget exactly what it was, but yeah, they actually were called to the carpet. And for a while, Chris, I'm telling you, the site was removed. You couldn't get to it, and then I guess they got their legal problems sorted out, and now they're back. But I remember a year, 2 years ago, maybe they were in big trouble, and they had some sister sites too, and I forget what their names were. But yeah, there were issues. Yeah, there were definitely issues,
Yeah.
and they were able to get them sorted out.
Yeah. But, with those sites getting popular, especially Ashley Madison, I mean, the whole basis of Ashley Madison is for the men and or the women to go out there and have an affair.
Yep.
Or
that's tradition for you.
You can bring somebody in, and I guess people are into that. Obviously the big fantasy for guys is, two girls or multiple girls or whatever, So, actually that goes back to just, innate men, we want to be with as many people as possible. So in terms of women, but
there you go. Yeah, two women telling you you're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
that's what you need.
No,
just what you need. Franklin. Two women telling you you're doing it wrong.
No, Franklin, not that hole.
Wrong hole. Yeah, right.
But again, these sites, they brought about that, and there are people out there that the guys are into bringing women, bringing other guys in to plow their wife. Okay, and that's where we get the whole cuck out of. We talk about cucking and stuff in terms of dating and guys, basically giving, supplying for women monetarily and not getting anything out of it, and she goes and hangs out with some other dude somewhere. So we call him the cuck. Oh, you don't want to be a freaking cuck, man. But that originated from guys that literally went on these sites, or back in the day when papers had social ads.
The Village Voice had loads of them.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Anywhere between in the Village Voice during its heyday, you had easily 5 to 7 pages of nothing but those ads in the back of the Voice.
Yeah. So there you go. And these guys would actively seek out other girls to come and do this, and they're the guys over there, what, in the corner or something, like filming.
Yeah, probably the only reason I read that. Probably the only paper that I ever read backwards. Read from the back to the front.
So, but again, this kind of thing is normalized. I mean, we even see it in reality shows now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, they're well, I forget the name of the channel, but there's a few actual reality shows where that's the main, that's the rub, if you will.
Yeah, and it's the well, again, I feel that, and this is my opinion, that stuff like that, these cheating websites, they're really doing a disservice in general. I mean, it's not, it's really breaking what is left of whatever nuclear families we got out there. I mean, and we're getting to the point now where the nuclear family is gone. Okay, so, and we have the single moms out there, and
never to return.
Right, and we're seeing more and more of the blended family, not even by race. We're talking the single mom has a kid or two, and then there's a guy that comes along and he might have kids. So we're very quickly losing that traditional dichotomy, and we're moving into like the polygamy, where oh well, I'm a trisexual, whatever I want to do, I'll just some days I like the guy, some days I like the girl, someday I want to whatever, and it's the point where it's it's kind of a free-for-all.
Don't judge me, Chris.
What?
Don't judge me, Chris.
I know. Yeah, well, that's true. I never judge you, even when you make your trips to Japan over there.
Yeah, which I'm due for another one shortly.
Tony,
Yeah,
Tony. Me love you long time.
There you go.
I'm due for another one actually.
One of Franklin's many exes. So
Hope she never finds me.
yeah.
Waiting for that knock on the door.
That's the most English she knows, so I think you're safe.
Didn't care.
But again, and we're going to get to the final section of the groups. And now you're getting people, especially women that are self-marrying. They're literally going online and posting pictures of them marrying themselves,
Okay.
marrying their pets.
Oh wait, I've seen that. Okay, yeah, I've seen that.
And they basically, obviously, these are women that are below the threshold. Let's call it like it is out there, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, below the level of what would be acceptable. And I guess their whole thing is like, screw it, I will just go and make pretend I'm getting married, and that's good enough for me.
Boy.
So, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen that actually in papers and things like that.
Right.
Somebody failed someplace.
I know.
Somebody failed.
Did you know anybody in your?
No. Actually, I don't know anybody like that, Chris.
No. Yeah. No. I thankfully I don't. Because I don't know if I could keep a straight face around those people.
Oh, I know I couldn't keep a straight face around those people.
And then you have the people that marry nature. They hug a tree. Literally, they're hugging trees, and just like all sorts of nonsense. I don't think like if you're Wiccan, I mean, is there some kind of relationship with nature if you're like into that whole Wiccan thing?
I don't know, to tell you the truth, Chris. I've heard of it, but I'm not 100% sure, so I probably shouldn't comment. But Jelly never stopped me before. But I'm not 100% sure though.
Right, and I think there is something to that, like where I think it's like theatrical. They have like a little ceremony in nature there, and they say, "Oh, well, I'm one with the forest," or they do some chanting, and But I digress, because I always in the movies and stuff, the Wiccan priestesses and stuff are always these hot, like half naked chicks.
Yeah, that happens.
Now, if I happen to be in the wilderness one day walking around the woods and I come across that kind of ceremony, then
a siren.
That might be something to stop in for a little while. And
siren raises herself from the water.
Yeah, they're like, "You ladies looking for a sacrifice?"
Yeah, there we go.
But again, it's on the bizarre, because you go from there, and now there's these swinger parties, there's open relationships now, and to me this is, and I am, people out there that know this and know me, I am not, while I was raised in a Catholic upbringing, I am very much do unto others as you have done to yourself, but we are definitely living in the times of fire and brimstone, because like I said, all bets are off. You can do whatever you want, and again, you're having these open relationships where, in my opinion, like, why even be together at that point?
Exactly.
Am I wrong?
You're right about that. I have an issue with that as well. To me, it just seems that if you're in one of these type of relationships, that just tells me that you don't really care for your mate, or you care for your mate at that time, but you're also caring for somebody else as well, or you still want to experiment or see what else is out there. Who was it? Who were those the TV people? Will Smith. Will Smith and his wife, aren't they in one of those goofy relationships type of a thing?
Are they?
There was talk about that actually. There was talk about them being in an open relationship, and I've heard it a lot. So I'm thinking that there is some truth to it. It's not just something that's been fabricated. I think there is some truth to it.
Considering what the kids are turning out like,
you know what? Yeah, the
I
both
wouldn't
of them.
be surprised if there's some traumatic shit going on over there.
Yeah, it's your traditional family.
But yeah, it is, you know, it is such now that, you know, anything is on the table.
Anything goes.
You know, and like I said, the swinger places where, you know, you can go and, you know, get groped and beat up and, you know, what have you. And actually, that sounds pretty good.
There you go. I'm not groping anybody without my lawyer nowadays. That's the way that works.
Right. Oh, we'll put you in one of those like boxes, you know.
I'm claustrophobic. Sorry.
The only problem, you see, Franklin, you have to understand something. The only problem with that is that you can't pick who actually reaches their hand in there. So,
ooh, no, I'd have a problem with that.
So,
no box for me. Sorry.
Yeah. So,
but thanks for the offer, Chris.
I don't know. Well, I offered to drive you there.
Drop you off and then take off.
How you get into that box is entirely up to you.
That's how you.
And I'm not picking you up either.
Oh, great. What are friends for?
Uber it.
Uber.
Make sure you make enough money in that box for Uber.
There you go. What are friends for, Chris?
So yeah. So again, you know,
my pal.
Yes. But again, I just wanted to kind of shine a light on that in terms of what I felt was very much just, you know, an outline of where we went from and where we are, and God knows where we're going to go too.
What's God got to do with it nowadays?
What'd you say?
What's God got to do with it nowadays?
Yeah, I know that is true, right? It's just what you know, whatever you feel, you know, that's fine. But also, you know, to go on that actually off that little tangent a little bit, we're going to segue into some of the things that I happen to come across on the internet and even through the world of news.
Do tell.
And, basically, I came across this article from Breitbart where sex robots, and they are out there, ladies and gentlemen, and they're very popular. Oh, you know what? Jeez. And this is where they would have gotten very mad at me, and I would have had a lot of hate email. But the sex robot actually reminded me we forgot about one group of guys and people that are actually really a force that are coming on in terms of especially the online community and other articles that are being written. And these are the MGTOWs. And for those people out there that don't know what that is, basically that's an acronym for men going their own way. And these are basically a group of people, or I should say a segment of the male population that basically feels that getting involved with the opposite sex, females, is just like a no-win proposition. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no payoff. They feel anything that they do, whether it's the amount of money they make or the effort they put in, they are never going to get the love and affection and admiration of these of the woman that they're, I guess,
like you said, no payoff.
Right. And the woman, they kind of, I want this one, and then she just says, you get the hell out of here. So they, they have decided that that whole process, and especially the institution of marriage, as it were, have too many red flags. So they have decided that they're going to, say, okay, we're going to opt out of this whole situation, and we're going to find other ways of, getting satisfaction. And one of them is actually the sex dolls, or now they're sex robots, because they're putting in all AI into them and stuff, where they have
anatomically correct parts.
Well, I'll tell you, and I have to say, all full not disclosure, because I don't have one of these, at least not yet. They are made in a very high quality. It's no longer like the the
blow up dolls from the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah, from Bachelor Party, with that. So those days are over. The inflatable, that's gone.
It smells like rubber around here. What? Latex.
Yeah. So and now they're like full blown silicone. They have real silicone implants in their chest cavities of these dolls, and I think even you can change their heads or their whatever, or again, we're going into the realm of anything you want. So I mean, you can even put like a guy's genitalia on there.
Oh boy.
So yeah, so
I see what you did there.
Yeah. So
yeah. Well, actually, I have seen some of these the robot dolls actually in Japan.
Oh, really?
Oh, and how? Yeah, there's a section in Japan called, I know I'm going to screw up this pronunciation, of Akihabara. They call it Electric Town. And anything that plugs in is there, regardless. You think of it, it's there. And there's a couple of shops that, there's one at the end when you come out of the train station there. There's a shop there. It's an adult shop, and it's 4 stories. Okay, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. There's 4 stories. You take an elevator to get to it, and each floor has whatever you're interested in. And there was a floor that did have love dolls, robots, if you will. There was one that I remember, once I did the calculation, it was about $6,000 US.
Wait a second. $6,000 for what? Like
$6,000 US for a robot doll. Now, for
to buy it.
Yeah, to buy it. Yeah,
okay.
For $6,000, I don't know whether that was the top of the a good one or a bad one or a middle one, but they're a lot different than what you originally described. They're pretty interesting. They're not just arms up and down, and they move. Right. They move, and they're interesting, Yeah. But I think I'd probably rather have the old good old fashioned.
Now you heard about this?
No, I've seen them.
Oh, so you?
I physically have seen them with my 2 own eyes. Yes,
you did.
Yes, I did.
I'm going to leave that there. I don't want you to incriminate yourself too much. Ladies and gentlemen,
pay no attention to the person behind the door.
Yeah. Is that a foot or a?
Pay no attention to that.
Out of the closet there.
Get back in there.
But yes, so these guys, this is like a real thing for them, and some of them are very prominent people online, and I think in full disclosure, I do think that some of the things they talk about in terms of a general speak of society, in terms of some things that we've moved away from, that we could kind of correct a little bit. I think they're on the mark with that. But these guys, one who's very prominent, and I'll give him a plug. I mean, he doesn't need a plug. He's got 1 billion followers. This guy, Turd Flinging Monkey, he has one of these like $10,000 dolls, and
really?
He actually, I mean, he set up like an Instagram account with her, and he's got all in different photos and poses and stuff. But all right, whatever, hey, he's making more money. He probably makes more money off of that account than we're currently making here, but so I can't throw stones, but there are guys out there that this is a real thing, and this is how they choose to live, and there's been a lot of talk about these guys in the last week. I will say that. What do you feel, and what is your opinion on guys that say, you know what, I'm not dealing with the opposite sex. I don't find anything, I don't think it's worth going after them. What do you think of it?
Well, to tell you the truth, Chris, in the very beginning, when I first started hearing about this, I always used to say to myself, you're a bunch of losers. But if you think about it, okay, there's some merit behind it, okay? There are just some people that just don't, or just can't, I should say, make a relationship work, okay? And there's also the women, like you said, who want a certain type of person and they're not getting that. And it's just like you said, I believe that they have something. I think they have a point there. I know a couple of people that that refuse to get married or don't want to get married because they see their friends in failing relationships, and it's expensive. Nobody wants to go through that. So if you find that you can maintain a relationship, if you will, within yourself, quote unquote, why not? So I think there is some merit there, Chris. I mean, I think there is some merit. I mean, like you said, it sort of, shoots a traditional relationship in the foot, because that's about as non-traditional as you can get.
Yeah, well,
but I mean, people that are doing it, I'm behind them.
Right, and I will say this, there's been other hosts on other programs that, have really cut into these guys saying that, they just don't want to do the work. They don't.
How long are you going to do that for, Chris? How long are you going to sit there and have something not work out for you? Okay.
Right.
How many times you're going to be cheated on or put down? And you're doing your best. You're doing your absolute best in a relationship, but it's still not good enough.
Right.
Because she wants more. She wants something else. Not for nothing. I can see just doing your own thing, going your own way. I can see that happening.
Well, and I agree with you on that part. You see, I live.
We have hearts too, just so you know that, guys. Okay, we have hearts too, and they can be broken and they can be hurt just as much as anybody else. Who wants to constantly go through all that heartache or all that trouble,
right,
if you will, which is really the way it is.
Now, a lot of the guys that have the opposite opinion of what you're saying say that, well, you're a guy, man up, this is our lot in life to do
Understood.
that. Now, I agree with them on that. See, I kind of fall in the middle with what you're talking about, you see, and also where they're coming from. I look at it this way. I would rather, and this is going to go off on topic a little bit, but I would rather take the vantage point of optimizing myself and vetting the girl to the point where I know she's all in on me. And if she doesn't meet, like the little checkpoints that I have, in my head,
Tick the box, then
I'm done, or I just keep her as fun, it's not going to be serious. Because I would rather do that than not be with a woman ever again, that kind of thing. I personally couldn't do that. I couldn't substitute an inanimate object for something that was flesh and blood and had a heartbeat. That's just me. some guys could, and God bless her, whatever.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But for me, I would just rather go the route of making sure that I vetted the girl and found out that she was on my side, and wanted to do things and live life on, with me, on my terms, me driving the boat, driving the car, and that. So, and I think by working on yourself and getting your stuff right, and getting yourself right in your career and doing whatever you want that way, I think that takes care of a lot of that stuff. But I do understand these guys, and I understand where they're coming from, because I also, have periods of time where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to go that route of trying to get to know this person, because, they're probably not for me anyway. And I would rather go and do something else.
Right.
So, so I can understand that, so
You put in a lot of time. Some people you'll put in, 1 to 2 years. Well, maybe that's a little on the long side, I guess. But you put in a year or so, and all of a sudden, this is not what I'm looking for. You're not what I thought you were, type of a thing. I mean, how many times are you going to go through that?
Right.
How many times are you going to go through that? Whether you're, I don't want to say supporting, but whether you're supporting this person either, physically, mentally, or, even with money. How long are you going to go through that?
right.
I don't
And-
like being hurt, and hurting hurts. But like you said, you're a guy, man up, and do the right, and
Right.
try to, you're a guy, man up.
Well,
Enough of this.
For an example, I was listening to Donovan Sharp, who has a program, The Sharp Reality. It's a great channel. You all can
Godfather.
go out there and listen to that. But on his particular program today, actually it might have been yesterday, he took a lot of these guys to task.
There you go.
And he basically said, look, you guys just don't want to put in the work, and you're making up any type of excuse to not do it. And, he used his own self as an example. He said, I used to be really overweight, 300 plus pounds. I didn't want to live that way. I knew I wasn't going to get chicks and do that, have any real success. So he went on a, massive diet, whatever he did. And, now he looks really fit, and he looks like a different person. And he's taking it from his personal vantage point of, hey, I put the time in, you sure as hell can put the time in. So I can understand that too. So I just wanted to, I didn't want to get this to be a dissertation on MGTOW,
Right.
but I just wanted to say that is yet another alternative lifestyle relationship that people are out there doing. They feel that, the traditional marriage and going that route holds no currency, basically. So,
Well, I've sort of kind of known that for a while, actually.
yeah, well, you see, I think, and this is where I in line with them, where I feel modern day marriage is like that, because I think the quality woman, the feminine woman, is few and far between.
Watch that feminine bit.
And well, no, but I mean, but
I know what you mean. Yeah.
that's a wide girth. Oh, see,
And to keep looking over your wide girth, right? You have to keep looking over your shoulder. You keep that up.
wide girth. Where's the? Hold on. Let's see. Where is it? Is it? Hey, we'll do this. Wide girth. There you go.
There
I have them on retainer to laugh.
you go. All of them?
Yes.
Oh,
I
boy.
think there's about 6 of them back there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But that brings me to the article that I came across where this one university researcher said that sex dolls should now come equipped with consent modules. So this could be a very bad thing for those MGTOW people out there, where they could take away the one vice they actually have. So
Say that again.
this article is of the opinion, at least these researchers in Michigan want to put or think it's a good idea to put consent modules into these robot dolls, the love dolls. So
That's what I thought you said.
right. So basically they, and like I said, this would be a completely different thing for the MGTOW. This is like the worst.
Defeats the purpose.
This would be the worst. Could you imagine? Could you imagine being one of these guys and you're like, oh yes, oh finally I haven't had sex in like freaking a year, man. It finally came in the mail. I love Amazon Prime. They get it out.
Truck comes by.
They fire that shit up, and it's like, yes, I know that I don't want you touching me like that.
There's
Could
a
you
disclaimer.
me like that today? The guy would jump out the window.
Or throw it out the window, one or the other. I don't know about having something like that walk around the house after. What would it do? Like leave little batteries all over the place, I guess? I don't know.
You're not doing that to me tonight, Tim.
Not tonight. Yeah.
I'm taking out my AA batteries.
Oh, boy.
See how you like screwing me tonight, honey, when I don't talk.
She turns her back and closes all of her inputs and everything. It just stops. Nothing's accessible.
That's it. The big like thing.
Yep, that's right. Exactly. That's right. If something's caught in a certain place, you'll get it chopped off. Yeah. Okay. I would go right to the dump. Right to the dump with you.
So yeah. So that's that was pretty extreme. I came across that and I thought that was different for sure. So
I don't think it gets much more different than that. Imagine being shut down by a robot that you paid for.
That's what I'm saying. Like they come in and it's like, that'd be the most supreme letdown. This is it.
I finally, yeah, exactly. And you get shut down by a robot, by not even a real person. You get shut down by a robot.
Mm-mm-mm.
If you get the black version,
Oh, and what does it like wiggle its head?
Yup. Did that neck snap? What? Go ahead and try it. See what happens. Oh boy.
Well, and this next one that I came across. Okay, we gotta.
Where do you find this stuff from?
And we're putting the brace on to a total 360 here.
All right.
This next article was this is actually a real article from Fox News, and actually this is one of those stories that I know you're not going to like because it delves into the aspect of girls with false accusations of assault.
Oh boy, don't get me started on that.
Kids, yeah. So in this particular case, 5 high school, they have it in quote mean girls. So I guess they were like the popular girls that had bitchy attitudes or something. They targeted a boy with false accusations of an assault. So it has happened in Pennsylvania. Okay, and they did this all, okay, I guess after the Q&A and what have you, basically because they didn't like him, because they didn't like the guy, they didn't like the little kid or his look or something, and the actual boy's parents now have put a lawsuit against them for multiple damages and stuff, and saying that they conspired in person, like I guess publicly, obviously, and via electronic communication to accuse their son of these multiple things that allegedly they did. So, and they're also suing the district.
But of course.
So I mean, I think that's crazy. I mean,
That's actually a thing. Actually,
it is.
yeah, that's that,
I mean,
that
you've seen
that's
this a
actually
lot. You've heard
a
about this
thing.
a lot?
Well, I know a friend of mine who's a law enforcement officer, and he was telling me that they actually answer calls now because somebody will call up and say that my son or my daughter is being bullied via text message or electronic or social media. And I've actually heard this. I'm like, wait, really? So somebody can bully somebody over text message or social media, and you can actually be charged with, I'm not sure what is you're charged with, but you can actually, it warrants getting a police officer coming to your house and taking a report. Really? I
That's
could not
crazy.
believe it when he told me that. He goes, I answered the weirdest call today. And he told me, I'm just like, wait, that can happen?
That's, I mean, but you know, this kid now, obviously he didn't go, at least didn't go back to that school. I mean, how is he? You want to talk about MGTOW in the making? How is
Exact. Oh, yeah, forget. He's probably damaged already, this poor kid.
oh I couldn't I would be surprised if he wasn't. I mean, how how do you even recover from that and like want to go out and talk to another female
And get back in
ever
and get
again,
back in the swing of things.
right?
I'd be afraid to.
Mm.
You know,
So
I mean, that's just awful. I mean, that's from what you said, that's actually the first time I've heard of that situation.
Mm.
But that's damaging. That's damaging, you know, and I'd like to know what kind of, punishment these three bitches, ladies are going to, have to go through. Are they going to get
well,
expelled from school, or are their parents going to be sued into poverty, or what have you? I mean, well, they're in Pennsylvania, so they're probably halfway there anyhow. But that's awful. That's actually
yeah,
sad.
yeah. So at this point, all your points are completely valid. It remains to be seen. It's literally, in terms of the article, it's in investigation or litigation, I should say.
Litigation.
And we'll see. We'll see I'm sure there'll be some monetary settlement, but what is it? Punitive damages, right?
Is that what they? Yeah, punitive means. Was that? Is that another SAT word for money paid? They paid up.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's basically they take a ratio of how much they think or feel you got screwed up from whatever the duration of time it was, and that would play into this. Like, was it over the course of just a couple months? Was it years? So that'll that remains to be seen what happens with that. But we'll
I'm
see.
glad you brought that up, Chris. I'm going to look into. I'm going to see if I can find that story, and
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can follow it, because that sort of. I'd like to know what happens there. That's
Yeah.
not that is just not right.
No, because again, if roles were reversed, the wheels of justice would have been, done.
Oh
and,
yeah.
Those the guys would have been gone.
Was it the Duke lacrosse team? Remember what
yeah.
happened to them? The Duke lacrosse team.
That's
And
a famous
just
one.
a week ago, or whatever it was, the Tawana Brawley version 2.0.
Mm,
That woman did that.
that's right. Wait, what was it? Pulling the hair, right?
Yeah, was it the 5 white kids or something,
Mhm.
or whatever it was? They pulled the hair. Okay, that was totally fabricated.
Right, didn't even happen, right?
Didn't even come close to that. And she actually admitted, I made it up. And I think a lot of the times people make stuff up like that because they know they're not going to get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
Sure, they'll cause trouble for the other person,
Right.
And they'll be in the news, and you'll get your 15 minutes of fame.
Mhm.
And then after that, you're probably not going to get in trouble for it. So hey, let's try that. It sounds like a good idea.
And at the end of the day, they'll come out and they'll blame, screwed up, I had a tough childhood.
Oh, yeah, okay, fine. Then you'll bring out your pictures before you screwed yourself up. When you're a happy little kid in the softball team or whatever it is, they'll bring out, those pictures. See, look, I'm such a well-adjusted child. No, you're not actually. and that's you'll get that, and it's not right.
Mm.
You know,
No,
so
No, absolutely, and it's a again, we're talking about society here a little bit in this particular broadcast, and it's another sad commentary on society that this is stories like this are the norm now, and it's not going to be the last one we hear of. So,
oh no,
so
not while there's social media, and not probably while there's a few dollars to be made.
no way. But okay, it looks like it is coming up on the witching hour here, Franklin, and
The
with
show has
that,
come to the end already.
I think so. We've
Oh boy, yeah, you're
we've
right.
talked for about an hour here. So, but with that, I think it was a great show.
Same here. Learned a lot.
Yep. And as usual, I'd like to thank all our listeners out there. Again, find us right here on YouTube on this channel. Smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel. This way you are not shut out of any content
Shut
we're
out.
posting. We have a lot of guests coming up. Franklin, I've been talking to a lot of people, so we got
Looking
some
forward to it.
works here. Yeah, oh yeah, it's going to be great. And as usual, Franklin, I want to thank you.
Thanks for having me. Learned a lot. I'm glad to be here.
Okay? You keep I may steer the boat, but you point out all the obstacles and keep me on track. So that's good.
I do the bestest I
Thank you.
can.
Yeah, thank you very much. And as always, to everybody out there, I want to thank you. Good night and God bless.